How you doing? I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Today I wanted to talk about how I quit drinking in one evening. You know, I could have called this how I quit drinking in 5 minutes, but I think that would be stretching the point a little bit. Maybe you wouldn't have listened to it, but the truth is that I'm 7 years off alcohol now, and it was around this time, I'm recording this on Boxing Day, St. Stephen's Day, 26th of December, the day after Christmas Day. And it was 7 years ago today that I went out with my son on a pub crawl around the town down here, and that set off a huge just a thinking process, a huge sequence of events that has led me to where I am today, to doing the work I'm doing today, to doing the studying I'm doing today, and living the life that I'm living today. So you know, I've got my son to thank for so much in my life, but that one particular thing, I have a huge thing to thank him for. I suppose this is a good time to just mention the channel, Alcohol Mastery TV. We're a small channel, we're trying to get the word out, and we rely on you, the listeners, to you know, make a small gesture. Either click the like button, subscribe to the channel, click the reminder button or the reminder bell, the bell icon, to get your subscribers. Every small thing helps us to grow and to get the word out. You know, my son really did give me such a huge motivation to quit drinking alcohol all those years ago. You know, that's one of the reasons why I say you've got to have a massive reason why you're doing this. You know, there's no real substitute for it, because the thing like pain, or you know, somebody giving out to you, somebody moaning at your shoulder and telling you you've got to do something or else something else is going to happen, you know, having pain in your side, or going to your doctor and your doctor says something to you, or you've been out and you've had one too many, and you're feeling sorry for yourself the next day. A lot of these things are going to help you in the short term, but as soon as the memory fades of those things, they're going to disappear. You know, your motivation will disappear with the memory of your whatever it is that started you out on this journey. So you need something in the long term to do this. Now, we work a lot on the basis of changing yourself from the person that you are into a different person, so that the alcohol becomes a non-entity in your life. You just don't do it anymore, and that's it's a massive reason why we're so successful at helping people to stop drinking alcohol, is because we don't just focus on the alcohol. The alcohol is just the first stage of this. When I go back and I look at that night, like I say, this was just one night, but it's a culmination of a lot of other things that led to that one point. My son had come over from Ireland. Like I said, we'd been living in Spain for, this is a bit of backstory if you're interested in listening to it. We've been living in Spain for a year, and I'd left my son in Ireland, and leaving Sean over in Ireland was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do in my life. You know, it was just so difficult to, you know, he was my everything. He represented everything to me. My own, you know, represented a lot of hope about myself as well as anything else. So it was very difficult to leave him there, and I'd seen him a couple of times before. He'd come over on holidays, you know, we paid for him to come over a couple of times. He's a student, he was a student at the time. So this particular time he came over, first Christmas in Spain, and of course I wanted to take him out and show him a good time. And for me, that showing a good time always involved drinking alcohol. And like I say, he was a student, so it was me that was buying him whatever, you know, all the drinks and stuff. I refused to allow him to buy any alcohol at all. So you know, we went on a pub crawl. Now, I can't remember exactly how many pubs we went to or what pubs we went to. I remember the first couple. I remember I suppose the places where, and the places that stick out in my mind would have been the ones that we had a shared connection with. You know, there's a couple of different restaurants that we've been in before, so those kind of stick in my mind. But we ended up the night, it could have been, you know, 5 pubs or 10 pubs, I don't know, you know, but we ended up the night in a place just down by the coast, down by the beach. We had an apartment on the beach. Just I'll show you in a second when. So that's where we used to live. You can see the crane there, just here, and just to the left of that there's a block of flats, a block of apartments, and we used to live down there. This is the beach here where we walked that morning. I'll tell you a bit more about that, and where we had a wrestling match. I'll tell you a bit more about that in a second. But that was the place where everything changed for me. You know, so this last bar that we went to, I finished off what was in my wallet and bought the drinks. And I knew Sean had €5, and it was just enough to get 2 more pints. And I said to Sean, you know, give me the €5. And we sort of had a little argument about it. He didn't want to give it to me, and I said to him, you know, like, I'd spent all this money all night long and stuff like that, and he had won €5, and I'd give it back to him later on. I don't think he just didn't want to drink, you know, he didn't want to drink anymore. And we ended up going, he gave me the €5, I bought some drinks, we went down onto the beach, and we had like this wrestling match on the beach at whatever time it was, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, after drinking a lot. I remember vaguely this, and we went home. And it was the next day. I was sat on the balcony looking down at the beach, and Sean came out and said to me, had I seen his iPod, you know, the music player. And I hadn't seen it, so I said, no, I haven't seen it. And he said, I probably fucking dropped it last night on the beach. So he says, I'm going down to look at it. And the two of us were really hungover. You could see it in his face. I was definitely hungover. It was cold. I was sat on this settee sofa on the balcony, and we just I had a blanket around me. And I remember watching him just walking up and down the beach with his head down in the sand, searching for this iPod, and not finding it. You know, he came back up and didn't find it. Now, I truly don't understand what it was about that moment. You know, it wasn't the iPad. You know, I could have paid for that and there was no problem with that. It wasn't the money that I'd spent. It was the fact that this was what I knew my relationship with my son was going to be from now on, was drinking. You know, was him coming over for holidays, or me going over to Ireland, and us going into either my old haunts in Ireland or my new haunts in Spain, and spending the rest of my life doing this. And I couldn't see myself doing that. Now, you know, he could have said things to me the night before that I don't remember, but stuck with me in my subconscious mind. You know, I'm not sure what he said to me, you know. I don't know what he said to me in that bar when I was asking him, or the way he was looking at me. Sometimes it can be body language or just a facial expression that does the trick. It can be tiny things that tips you over the line, you know. And, you know, there's a famous book called The Tipping Point, and that's really what it's about, is that what is it that tips you over the line and gets you to make that decision. But, you know, for me, it was just, all I can say is it was an accumulation of things that happened that drove me to that end point of stopping drinking, and that all happened in one evening. Like I say, it could have happened in a brief second. The decision to stop drinking alcohol obviously took a bit more time to work out in my own head. You know, I was going through a lot of stuff. How can I solve this? You know, and trying to figure out, was there a way of doing this while not drinking? And, you know, I knew I had to change my whole way of thinking about myself and the way I live my life. You know, so, and that's really what I've done over the last 7 years. And it didn't take me a long time to understand a lot of those things about myself. It's taken me a long time to figure out a lot of the mechanics of this and why it's worked, and you know, we've built in a lot of different stuff into Habits Unplugged to try and emulate that success. But it really is down to, at the end of the day, finding that reason why at the beginning, or enough of a reason why to get you into it, and then carry on thinking and working on things like that. So, as I said at the beginning, this is not, and never was, I don't think it's about a short-term solution. I mean, you can have those things that give you a short-term motivation, pain, and people causing you pain, when the pain becomes a tipping point for you and you step across that line. But if it's something that is not deeply felt by you, emotionally felt by you, it's not going to last long. It's very unlikely to last long. It's unlikely to give you that motivation to change yourself enough that you spend your life in a place which is, you're glad that you don't drink anymore. You know, where you change yourself enough so that putting any poison into your body, alcohol or any other drug, becomes a taboo for you. Do you get what I mean? It becomes sacrilege almost. It becomes something that is just doesn't make any sense anymore. you look at other people and you think, why are you doing that? Why did I do that for so long? You just come to certain realizations in your life that, and for me, it's all about pushing yourself towards becoming the best possible version of yourself, living the best possible life that you can live. That's where we've got three different forms. We've got three different phases in the 180 program, which is part of Habits Unplugged, our overall program. We've got preparation, which gets you to that point where you step across the line and you're ready to stop. We've got transition, which brings you from that point of stopping drinking alcohol to the point where you really you've got a lot of the stuff, most of the stuff under control, in terms of alcohol and your old alcohol behavior. And then the biggest part of our program is called transformation, and that is all about transforming yourself and getting yourself to that place that you want to be, the best possible version of yourself. And that's different for everyone. It's not going to be the same for me. My version of myself that I consider to be the best version of myself is not going to be the same for you. My version of myself and your version of yourself, that is also going to evolve the more you get into it, but that's it's a different story. But anyway, I've got another video coming out today. I'll put it up. It's just about we've got a promotion because we've changed the website, and as a relaunch thing for Alcohol Mastery, we've just, it's just a new look for the website. We've releasing the annual 50% off the annual fees and 50% off the lifetime fees. So you can have a look at that, check it out if you want. If you're just starting out with this and you want something for free, there is a link down below this video for a book. You can download that book. There's 10 principles in there that you can apply to your life right now to help you to stop drinking alcohol. But like I say, this is about getting beyond that phase of stopping drinking where you really and truly you're living the life where you just don't give a fuck about alcohol anymore. It just doesn't mean anything to you. So there's a link down below for that, and there's also a link there's a $1 trial if you want to take it month by month. There's a $1 trial down below, you can take that. So take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you again soon. Onwards and upwards. All right, bye bye now.